It was one of those heavy summer afternoons when everything felt too hot, too humid, and people seemed just a bit too irritable. My wife and I had spent the morning tackling errands, her OB appointment, a stop by the pharmacy for prenatal vitamins, and a quick run to the post office. By the time we pulled into the parking lot of a small corner convenience store, the asphalt shimmered under the heat. My wife, 8 months pregnant and balancing radiant strength with exhaustion, wanted to stretch her legs. I offered to go in alone, but she insisted on getting some air, even if the air was more suffocating than refreshing. Inside, the store's air conditioning felt like salvation. Still, it was unusually busy for a weekday afternoon. Teenagers giggled near the drink coolers, a man in a wrinkled suit juggled his phone and snacks, and 2 open registers barely kept up with the crowd. We made our way to the cold drinks, my wife opting for lemon iced tea, her current craving. I grabbed water and peanuts, and we joined the long line to check out. 2 customers ahead stood a woman who looked like she stepped out of every stereotype meme. Short-angled bob, oversized sunglasses on her head, and a pink glittery tank top that read, "Why not?" She sighed dramatically every few seconds, muttering about the slow cashier and how she had better things to do. My wife and I exchanged a glance. We both knew the type and hoped she would be gone soon. As the line moved, the woman turned slightly and noticed my wife. Her gaze swept over her belly with a sneer. At first, she just rolled her eyes. Then, loudly and without warning, she sneered, "Oh, give me a break. You people will do anything to get ahead in line, huh?" My wife looked puzzled. I calmly said, "Excuse me?" "You heard me," she snapped. "I've seen the trick. Fake pregnancy, hold your belly, and hope people let you skip. Pathetic." I stared at her, stunned. She's 8 months pregnant. We're not asking to cut anyone. We're just buying drinks. But she wasn't done. "Yeah, sure she is. You can rent those bellies online. Saw it on a video." Always scamming for sympathy. My wife's face turned red, tears threatening to rise. She had done nothing to deserve this attack. I felt something shift in me. Quietly, I took out my phone and hit record. I knew this wasn't going to end with just harsh words. Karen, as we later learned her name to be, stepped closer, her voice escalating. "What are you gonna do if I prove she's faking? You gonna admit I'm right?" And before either of us could move, she slapped my wife's belly. The sound, quick and sharp, echoed like a gunshot in my mind. My wife gasped, stepping back, clutching her stomach. I moved instantly, checking her, steadying her. She was trembling, breathing hard, eyes wide with fear. I turned to Karen and lifted my phone, now obviously recording. "You're going to regret that." She froze. For the first time, fear crossed her face. The air changed. The man in the suit stared, aghast. The cashier dropped a receipt and muttered, "Oh my God." Even the teens filming in the back had gone silent. Karen folded her arms and mumbled, "You people are so dramatic." I turned to the cashier. "Call the police. Now." She nodded and picked up the phone with trembling hands. Karen's eyes darted to the door, calculating an escape. But the store manager emerged, a stern man with salt and pepper hair. "What the hell is going on here?" he barked. "That woman hit my pregnant wife," I replied evenly. "I have it all on video." Without hesitation, he turned to Karen. "Ma'am, you stay right here. The police are coming. And we have cameras, too. If you leave, it gets worse." Karen seemed to deflate. Her mouth opened, but one look at the phones pointed at her made her close it again. My wife was seated on a stool, breathing shallowly. I knelt beside her. "Are you okay? Is the baby moving?" She nodded through tears. "Yeah, I think so. It just scared me." About 10 minutes later, 2 officers arrived. "I'm the one who called," I said. "That woman hit my pregnant wife." I showed them the video. They watched the slap, the insults, the rising tension. One sighed, then turned to Karen. "Ma'am, we need to speak with you outside." "I didn't mean to hurt her," she protested. "I was just proving a point." "Outside. Now." She left with one officer while the other took my statement. The manager provided the security footage. Bystanders backed us up. A teen whispered to me, "It's on Reddit already. That lady's going viral." I didn't care about going viral. I cared about my wife and our baby. We chose to press full charges. The officer nodded and handed me a card with a case number. "Does your wife need medical attention?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Just to be safe." We drove to the hospital in silence. I watched her out the corner of my eye, pale and focused out the window. I held her arm. There was nothing to say. At the hospital, triage took us immediately. They hooked her to monitors, checked for fetal movement, distress. The sound of our baby's heartbeat thundered through the room. My wife sobbed with relief. The doctor assured us there were no complications. Still, they scheduled a follow-up. When we returned home, we found out the video had gone viral. One of the teens had posted it. People flooded in with support. My wife smiled for the first time that day. I eventually uploaded my video, blurring her face, muting the audio where she cried. I wasn't chasing clout. I wanted accountability. I titled the post, "A woman slapped my pregnant wife in line." She didn't know I was recording. Within an hour, it was trending. Support poured in. Some even found Karen's social media and her employer's page. The company put her on leave, then terminated her the next day. Karen posted a video, teary and tired, from her kitchen. But it wasn't an apology, it was an excuse. I didn't know she was pregnant. It all happened so fast. The internet wasn't fooled. Soon after, a former coworker claimed this wasn't Karen's first aggressive act. Her charm had protected her before. Not this time. The DA's office called. A court date had been set. Assault and battery with aggravating circumstances. She wouldn't see jail time, likely. But fines, probation, anger management, and a restraining order were all on the table. And then something beautiful happened. A friend shared our baby registry. We hadn't meant for it to go public, but people found it. Gifts began arriving. Clothes, bottles, blankets, toys. Notes came, too. Your baby is already so loved. Stay strong, Mama. My wife cried again. This time from healing. Weeks later, we walked into court early. My wife's belly was now unmistakably round, and she walked with confidence I hadn't seen since before the slap. Karen looked smaller now, hollow. The judge read the charges. Karen pled guilty. Her attorney asked for mercy, citing public shaming. But when my wife spoke, she was powerful. She spoke of fear, of trauma, of the shame of being doubted while carrying life. I added my words, as a husband, as a father. The judge sentenced Karen to pay fines, complete 200 hours of community service supporting mothers in crisis, attend a year of anger management, and granted us a permanent restraining order. When it ended, we left in peace. Outside, reporters waited. We kept walking. We didn't need the spotlight. We had justice. In the weeks that followed, the noise faded. The internet moved on. But we stayed steady. We painted the nursery, folded onesies, went to birthing class. We found joy again. And when our daughter arrived, screaming into the world, we named her Grace. Not just for the beauty of the name, but for what it represented. Grace in the face of hate. Grace in the aftermath of harm. Grace that endured. Karen was a chapter. But we wrote the ending. Stronger. Wiser. Together.